A snowman, a Scrooge, and a reckoning. How we took back our street. I'll never forget the first time she did it. It was one of those crisp December mornings where you feel like the whole world is fresh and full of promise. Frost clung to the tips of the grass, glittering under the pale sunlight, and the air smelled clean in that way it only does after a hard freeze. My kids, Lila, 8 years old and missing her 2 front teeth, and Mason, my 6-year-old little daredevil, were bundled up in puffy jackets and wool hats. They giggled nonstop as we rolled the third and final snowball into place for the biggest snowman we'd ever built. He stood just over 5 feet tall, wearing an old scarf from my closet, a carrot nose Lila insisted had to be the longest one in the fridge, and coal eyes that Mason carefully placed. It was perfect. We'd made one every winter since they were toddlers, but this one was special. And then she showed up. I heard the engine before I saw the car. A slick, black Escalade whipped around the corner and barreled down the street like she owned it. It fishtailed slightly in the icy patch near my driveway before straightening out, right toward us. Toward our snowman. I barely had time to shout when she swerved across my lawn. Tires spun, flinging slush and frozen grass as her SUV thundered forward. She didn't stop. She didn't even slow down. Just plowed straight through our snowman like it was nothing more than an inconvenience. Our masterpiece exploded into a spray of ice, carrot, and scarf, and she kept going without so much as a glance. Lila screamed. Mason stood frozen, his mittened hands balled into fists. My heart cracked wide open. The Escalade's tinted window slid halfway down. A pale hand with blood-red nails emerged and tossed something onto my walkway before the window snapped shut and she sped off again, exhaust clouding behind her like smoke from a battlefield. I ran over. It was an envelope, neatly folded. HOA letterhead stamped on the front. Unapproved lawn decoration. Please remove immediately. That was just the beginning. Maybe she just had a bad day. At first, I tried to make sense of it. Maybe Miranda Hoffman, yes, that Miranda, our self-appointed queen of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, was just having a bad day. Who hasn't? But who runs over a snowman with their car twice? The next weekend, Lila and Mason wanted to try again. They weren't ready to give up, and I wasn't about to let one petty tyrant ruin our winter tradition. We bundled up again, spent 3 hours in the biting cold, and rebuilt it. Bigger, stronger. Same spot. Same carrot nose. Lila even added earmuffs this time, pink fuzzy ones. Sunday night, I heard it again. Tires crunching on the snow. I peered through the blinds. Miranda. She was backing up her Escalade, positioning it like a demolition derby driver. And then she hit the gas. Reverse gear. Full throttle. Our snowman didn't stand a chance. Shattered again. And this time, she got out, walked to my porch, smirked at the security camera mounted above my door, and taped another letter. Obstruction to neighborhood harmony. That was the phrase she used. Harmony. I don't think I've ever been angrier in my life. And I'm a pretty patient guy. But that word, coming from her? 3 snowmen in. It was war. By the 3rd snowman, I wasn't smiling anymore. Lila cried when I told them we could try one more time. Mason, ever the little warrior, suggested we set traps. I laughed at first. Then I started thinking. This one, we made solid. Packed the snow tighter than ever. We added sticks for reinforcement and found an old broom to prop it up like a spine. Mason wanted to add spikes. I settled for packing ice at the base. Tuesday morning, I woke up to a series of motion alerts on my phone. I checked the footage. Miranda, stomping across my front yard, shovel in hand. She didn't hesitate. She swung it like she was chopping firewood, taking the head off in a single swing. Then the middle section. Then the base. She stomped through the remains like a kid jumping in puddles, then marched back to her SUV and drove away. She left another letter. Visual pollution. I showed the footage to Lila, who asked in a small voice, Daddy, why does she hate us? I didn't have an answer, but I promised them we'd fix it. Somehow. The night of the blowtorch. The 4th snowman was our masterpiece. We made it tall 6 feet. Easy. Lila donated Mason's old scarf. Mason picked the sticks for the arms. I stayed up past midnight putting on the finishing touches. It gleamed under the porch lights like something from a Christmas movie. It lasted exactly 12 hours. At 2 a.m., Miranda pulled up in her Escalade again. This time, she got out holding a blowtorch. I couldn't believe it when I reviewed the footage. She fired it up, the blue flame roaring to life, and methodically melted our snowman into a puddle. She even waved the torch at the camera before she left, smiling like it was the best night of her life. The letter she left this time? Fire hazard. I sat at the kitchen table the next morning, staring at the charred puddle in my yard. My wife looked at me and said quietly, "She's unhinged." I nodded. But inside, I was planning. The fifth snowman, laying the trap. This time, I didn't tell the kids. I waited until they were asleep, and I built it alone. But it wasn't snow I was stacking. I went to the hardware store, bought steel rods, heavy-duty wire mesh, concrete mix. Told the cashier I was working on a garden sculpture. He nodded, probably didn't care. I built the core in my garage, hidden under a tarp. Welded it solid. Poured concrete until it set hard as stone. Wrapped it in mesh, then coated it in snow. Shaped it perfect. Carrot nose. Coal eyes. Innocent. I placed it in the yard exactly where Miranda would see it. I whispered to myself, "Come on. Take the bait." And I waited. Patience pays off. 3 days went by. Nothing. Then, Friday night, 11 p.m., headlights washed across my lawn. Miranda. Her Escalade slowed as she passed, circled once, twice. My cameras caught every angle. She didn't attack that night, but I knew it was coming. Saturday night, I was dozing on the couch when a bang shook the house. I ran to the window. Miranda's Escalade was smashed into the snowman. Hood crumpled like an empty soda can. Steam hissed from the engine. The snowman? Barely budged. Just a little snow dusted off the steel beneath. She stumbled out of the SUV, screaming, kicking her bumper. Her front axle? Done. My cameras got it all. Her rage. Her license plate. Her humiliation. I stood at the window and whispered, "Got you." Exposing the scam. That crash was just the beginning. I spent the night compiling footage. Every letter. Every confrontation. Every neighbor's story. I dug into public records. Miranda wasn't just head of the HOA, she was the HOA. There were no official filings. No legal structure. Just her, collecting money through her personal PayPal. Thousands of dollars. I burned copies of everything. Made backups. Took them to the county offices Monday morning. By noon, cops were at her door. The collapse of a queen. News spread fast. The local station ran a story, "Neighborhood tyrant busted after snowman smackdown." They aired my footage, her crashing into the snowman, her torching our yard, even the shovel attack. Miranda became an instant pariah. By Wednesday, the police had confiscated her computer, shredded documents, and even her SUV. Tax fraud. Embezzlement. Over $50,000 in fake fines. Thursday morning, she was served with foreclosure papers. By Friday, she was gone. Victory tastes like burgers and freedom. Saturday, the neighbors threw a block party. Someone hung a sign on my lawn, "Karen-free zone." Yeah, they called her Karen. It fit. The kids ran wild, free. People smiled again. Lila and Mason asked if we could build another snowman. I laughed. Maybe tomorrow. Justice and snow and steel. Miranda's house sold cheap. A nice family moved in. No HOA anymore. My camera stayed up, but now they recorded laughter and snowball fights. That snowman didn't just take down a bully. It gave us our neighborhood back. And it all started with a pile of snow and a little steel.